Hi guys and welcome back to our channel Sharang and Sharvari. Firstly, both of us want to wish all of you a very happy New Year 2025 and thank you so much for the love that you gave on our previous video, the one where we discuss how we are celebrating our New Year's Eve this year. And we want to say that it was kind of a busy week last week and also the week before that. We were visiting family, there was a close wedding, and we were caught up in a lot of personal things. We also had a trip from Mumbai. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you guys go watch that. But now we are back to the hustle, the grind, as we call it. And that is why we decided to come back with another video, which is a topic that's kind of been on our minds lately. And I must say, this was Sharang's idea. So today's topic is his idea. And he's a person that has been thinking a lot about this. And when he discussed this with me, I felt that it is something that we could both talk about in today's video. So the topic for today's video is that why does the modern world seem soulless? So I think let's hear it from the person whose topic idea this is. So I hand it over to you, Sharang.
Okay, so first and foremost, I apologize for my voice. The thing is, I am sick, and because of that, my voice is really not doing well. So if I sound like, this is like my voice is completely off pitch, and I apologize for all the pauses, etc., etc. With that being out of the way, the thing is, I first came across the concept of a soul in like when I really sat down and thought about the nature of the soul. Was when I first read the Bhagavad Gita, because the Bhagavad Gita, time and time again, right? So there's an entire chapter of the Bhagavad Gita titled Nature of the Soul. And it just goes on to say, yeah, the soul is something you cannot see, you cannot feel, there's no way to quantify or prove in other terms its existence, but it's there. And it's there in the way Bhagavad Gita talks about it, is that the soul is the most important part of your being, essentially. It's called Atma. And this concept of the soul, it can be found essentially in every culture. The Muslims call it ruh or spirit. The Arabs, I would say. Similarly, the Christians call it the soul. I believe the Jews have the same similar word for it. But the thing is, why does this concept exist? And like this is a video where I'm using my intuitions. Usually I'm like, yeah, this is the data, this is what I think, these are the facts. This is a video where I'm trying to speak from the heart and based on my intuitions. I have personally killed animals because I was a scientist, not because I'm a psychopath, but this was part of my job. And I killed mice. And whenever I would kill a mouse, right? There would be something, I would look at the mouse, I would look at the dead, glassy eyes, and there would be this feeling that something that made that thing alive or tick was gone, right? And so I think that the soul, right? And this is, by the way, what soldiers also feel. So I was listening to this American soldier who unfortunately had to kill an enemy combatant with his bare hands using a rock, and he said, yeah, he had this feeling that the man he was fighting was gone, even though the body is there. And so my point is that the soul is something that you only realize is gone when it's gone, and otherwise you don't really realize. It's something very difficult to sense. The thing is why I feel that the modern world, right? It is we are the most technologically advanced. Like we have luxuries that our ancestors could only dream of, all if the world was a logical place, if materialism was working, then we would be the happiest generation. And time after time, study after study indicates that we're not in fact the happiest generation. We have so many psychological disorders. We are pathologically unhappy. Sharveri, as a psychologist, is the best person to speak. So is this true, Sharveri, or is this a myth that people today are unhappy as compared to the rest?
No, definitely it is true. I mean, of course, I would want to add a few papers. I don't have any on my mind right now, but I'll definitely link them in the description if I find any. But definitely, we are not at all the happiest.
Right.
Even in spite, as you said, having everything, we
Yeah.
still remain the most unhappy. But of course, I have my own take on that. I'll definitely
Right.
contribute later. But
Right.
finish it.
So the thing is, the way I reasoned, and I am kind of biased because I'm a biologist, right? So I was taught from a very early age to view human beings as just another animal. And when I looked at modern civilization and how would the human animal feel in it, like it made all the sense to me that human animal or human beings would be miserable. Because think about it, what we do today, right? What we do is we get up early morning, we rush off to work. And what is work for the vast majority of us? We sit in these plastic or cement cages for 8 or 9 hours every day. We are surrounded by strangers who, let's be honest, we don't like most of them, or we like half of them, or whatever, and we tolerate them. Then we are surrounded by strangers, then we come home to our family, and the thing is, most of us get to spend less time with our family and children and loved ones as we do with our colleagues. Like, and we eat food which is ultra processed, and it's designed to make us to satisfy our tongue but not satisfy our stomach and not satisfy nutritional needs. We don't really exercise the way our ancestors do, and we're completely disconnected from God. And I'm a salesperson, so I often roam around, and like the thing is, I often get to look at the vista, and even cities like some of the most cities of India, which are polluted and, let's be honest, reek of garbage or whatever. Even those cities are stunningly beautiful if you look at them properly, and you just look into nature, and it's so beautiful, right? That it really nourishes the soul. And this, by the way, is anomalous. In the entire history of mankind, people would wake up and they would be surrounded by their families. So they would go work on their farms, or when they were hunter gatherers, they would just go out into the wide world and try to find game. But point is, whoever they would always be surrounded by their friends and family. They had a community. This is how we are designed to live, and today we are cut off from all of that. So this is the thing: is modern civilization optimized for material wealth and material success, but it forgot to optimize for happiness. Like, maybe, like, you look at the modern world, we live in these square boxes essentially. Like, whereas in the ancient world, Tokyo looked completely different from Delhi. Why? Because every place is different. But modern world just homogenizes everything. It just makes everything standard because it's a more efficient, but it truly destroys what makes us human. And that is why modern world feels soulless, right? And since I don't believe in just complaining without proposing any solutions, what do I believe can be done, should be done, is we go towards a more natural way of being as much as possible. For example, so we avoid processed foods, for example. We genuinely try to foster a sense of community. We try to get closer to nature in whatever way we can. We don't sit in these goddamn square cubicles. We need to rethink the way the modern workspace feels like. And yeah, I think that's it from my piece.
Yeah, like I would agree with you, Sharang. I mean, everything seems very, I would say it seems the same. So, like as you mentioned, every city used to have its own charm, its own glory.
Yeah.
But I think that is lost. Delhi looks the same like Mumbai. It looks the same like New York, maybe,
Yeah.
just with a few differences here and there. So what happened is we lost the joy of struggle, I think. Because what happens is when things are too planned out, that is also a big problem because you have nothing to work towards.
Yeah.
And that is what has happened, at least in urban cities, is that people have lost the joy of struggle.
Yeah.
And they think of struggle not as something to be, rewarded for, but they think of it as some hassle.
Yeah.
And that is why, if you have that joy of struggle, or if you have something to work towards, which brings me to my next point, is doing something with passion. So, having passion in your life in general is very, very important. You really need to find something that you deeply love and care about. I think you told me this once.
Yeah.
And it really, really made sense. I thought on it myself, and I think I'm on that quest myself to find out something that I'm really passionate about and would love to work for.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I think this sense is missing in today's modern world. And that's why, since we don't have that thing that keeps us alive, I read a quote that is very, I think it's from a movie. Everyone knows that I like movies a lot. Is that there is no point in living if you don't feel alive.
Yeah.
And I think this might be from a James Bond movie. So it's from The World Is Not Enough.
Right. Okay.
And it really resonated with me. It makes a lot of sense, and I think that is what we are lacking in today's day and life. That would be point two. Point three is we know another quote that says comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
And we also tend to do a lot of that. We're like, okay, he has a 2 BHK flat, I should aim for a 3 BHK flat.
Yeah.
Or he has this car, I should have that car.
Yeah.
So these are all materialistic things, and they're going to bring you joy, yeah, maybe in the small run, but not if you look at it in the span of 10 or 15 years, there's always going to be a car that's better.
The thing is, study after study has found that money only makes you happy up to a point. Beyond that, it really does not make you happy.
Exactly.
So, once your basic needs are met and you have a little time and money left for leisure, so on and so forth, beyond that, money does not make you ecstatically happy.
Not at all.
And the thing is, modern world, like, why are spiritual, like, the thing is, spiritualism and religion and connection with God is completely missing, right? Because if everything is logical and planned out, then God has no space, right? But like when you take God out and when you take spiritualism out of it, then as Sharvari said, life doesn't feel worth living. And the thing is, like when I was a young, when I was 17 years old or something like this, I trekked in the Himalayas, and that was like a completely eye-opening experience for me, a city boy, right? But I would have to walk 10 kilometers in brutal conditions, But then I would glimpse beauty that is beyond description. It beggars belief. It was that beautiful. And I would eat very simple food. I remember eating boiled potatoes like a German for 11 days straight, right? But the thing is, like I would look at the mountains and I would feel more than, oh my God, that's so beautiful. It would move me in my soul. Like I had, as a Hindu, I had this feeling that, oh, what I'm looking at the mountains is actually the locks of God Shiva, and what is the white rivers flowing down is the holy Ganga flowing down his locks. And I can't justify these thoughts that I have, these feelings that I have, but I know for a fact that spirituality makes my life worth living. And there's no culture in the entire history of mankind, like there's never been a single culture in the entire history of mankind all over the world which did not have gods or religion or spirituality. And like I'm not talking about North Korea where it's being forced top down, like people believe in God, but the government says you can't do that. But that's not counted because I have friends from China who say, yeah, we are Buddhists, by the way. We're just not allowed to be, so we pretend to be irreligious. And in North Korea, Kim Jong Un is endowed with all the powers of God. So North Koreans believe that he can hear their thoughts, so on and so forth. So yeah, really, you can't take religion out of people.
I agree. And I think what has happened, as I was coming to my previous point that I was making, is that comparison is the thief of joy. And somewhere you tend to do that. Either it might be through social media or it might be in general. Like you don't even have to use social media sometimes to compare. It's a mindset.
Okay.
And this mindset will kill you in the long run because then you will always be competing against someone or something, and you will never truly feel happy inside.
Yeah.
Which is why I must say that you guys might be thinking, it's so easy for her to say. It's so easier said than done. But try adopting this mindset that I am where I am right now. And this is what I have chosen. This is where I want to be. And I'm just going to focus on my life trajectory. I'm not going to look here. I'm not going to look there. And just go on my own path. And that is how you can bring more purpose into your own life. This is one reason why the modern world is soulless. And in general, I think people have lost sense of who they are overall. And they tend to just have a very, it's a very polluted view of who they are. It's not exactly who they are, or they like that. Like, okay, we have to do this because it's trending or it's in fashion or something like that. Do it because you like it. I have like many relatives who get laughed at because they do something different than the ordinary. And I actually appreciate these people because they're the people who are really learning how to live life.
Yeah.
And I think we are doing a very wrong thing by laughing at them because they're literally doing the thing that we are supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I think, that would be my gift to the audience.
I think a final point that I would like to make is that many times I've seen people, especially from cities, right? And maybe this is a trope stereotype, but I really have seen this, that people from affluent backgrounds and especially people from cities, they tend to act in almost sociopathic ways. In any case, they tend to act in extremely narcissistic ways, which are not conducive to their own long-term well-being as well as the well-being of others. And I think one of the reasons why is that like in the centuries past, or even like a few decades ago, we lived in these small insular communities. Now, they had these communities had their problems, right? They were maybe parochial, maybe they were a little xenophobic, whatever. But the thing is, they were groupings of around, let's say, 200 to 300 people, and everyone would know everyone. So everyone would keep everyone in check, simply because if I do something bad to her, then everyone else is going to hear about this, and there'll be social repercussions. On the other hand, if we live in a big city, I could be mean to her, or she could be mean to me. I could be whatever, evil, selfish, etc. Put in the adjective, and it wouldn't damage my reputation because I don't know her, they don't know me, no one knows anyone. And I think this kind of lifestyle fosters a profound disconnect, which just leads to sociopathy. And if you look at historical trends, it happened in urban Rome. It happened basically whenever there has been a city which has formed, it has turned into a population sink, and people have compared it. Oh, it's so decadent. It is so soulless, and these cities ended up being how do you say, kind of secular, or kind of they walked away from God essentially. So Sodom and Gomorrah from the Bible. If you don't want to believe in the Bible, there's the story of Dwarka, how Dwarka was destroyed by Krishna because the Yadavas became, similar way. There's the story of Rome. Rome is thought to have failed because the city just became a hellhole essentially, and the Romans became decadent and corrupt and disgusting. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, try to find your way to God and spirituality, and I think all the other concepts will be met.
And thank you so much, guys, for watching our video and all the love you have been showering on the channel. And we hope that you also had a great start to the year 2025. So before we end this video, I want all of our subscribers to stay tuned for the next one. And also those who haven't subscribed, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, because we post content regularly. Now that we are living together, we might do so even more often.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys, and have a great week ahead. Bye.